Hello, my chicklets. Welcome back to day 9 of AU August. Today is going to be our pirate AU. There is a bit of minor character death, so do be warned of that. For now, let's go ahead and read The Making of a Family. Patton wasn't happy about the captain's decision, but he would follow orders. The captain had saved his life, so he owed the man his loyalty. But this didn't feel right. They had spent the past 2 months chasing after a mermaid who was hoarding a treasure chest. She protected it as if her life depended on it, and even as the captain landed the final blow, she was reaching for it. Something in Patton knew this was wrong, but it's not like betraying someone was any better. He bit his tongue until the captain opened the chest to reveal a baby, carefully swaddled in kelp and cloth. A silence fell over the crew, watching with transfixed eyes as the captain picked the child up. Patton watched his movements carefully. No one dared say a word, few not even daring to breathe, until the captain raised his sword, ready to slay the child. That was wrong. Before Patton even knew what he was doing, his body moved, scooping the baby away from peril and holding his own sword to the traitor's neck. They pillaged and plundered, but they did not harm innocents. Patton would never harm an innocent. "I'm relieving you of your station, Captain." Thankfully, the others supported Patton. They agreed that no matter where their morals lie, there were some lines they didn't cross. Patton became captain. Guilt crossed Patton's face at the memory as he looked down at his son. Virgil had grown up to be curious and cautious. Patton could tell that he loved the crew as his family, but he didn't like the idea of strangers or of being on land. How could Patton blame him? He was never meant to be on land in the first place. "Hey, Captain." Virgil walked up to the helm, hands shoved in his pockets. He was a teenager now, and Patton couldn't be prouder of who he was becoming. "Next time we dock, can I go swimming?" He had told Virgil a few years back a little about his origin. Patton didn't want to lie to his son and hide things from him, but some stories were too hard to tell in full. "What if I find an island for us to stop so that you can swim there? Then there won't be many other people around. How about that?" Virgil gave him a small smile and nodded softly. "Yeah, that sounds good." "Perfect, kiddo. Changing course." Patton looked at his map, trying to figure out the best place to dock for a bit. The crew liked to get off the ship every once in a while, so this would be good for everyone. "Can I ask you something?" "You just did," Patton replied with a laugh, but it was obvious he was all ears. "What happened to my parents?" "Oh, well, that's a tricky question." Patton frowned, not looking at Virgil as he thought about how he wanted to say what he needed to say. "Or, the answer isn't tricky, just a bit difficult, but you're old enough." He didn't want to keep lying to his son. "We don't know who your dad is, but your mom was a mermaid. The previous captain had noticed that she was hoarding a small treasure chest, and he was a very greedy man, so he followed her, going after her to get her treasure." Patton was sure Virgil could put 2 and 2 together, but he still hesitated. "He killed her, and when he went to look at the treasure, he found you." Patton finally looked at the young man he had raised as a son, the boy who was growing into his own identity. "I regret every day that I followed him as long as I did, and that night still haunts me, but I wouldn't let him harm you too." Virgil was silent for a while, standing there just listening. It was a lot to process, and Patton knew that, so he didn't say a word, just let Virgil go through all of his own thoughts. "Have you ever regretted taking me in as your kid?" "Not for a single day. We might have had fights, kiddo, but I'm grateful for every day that I got the chance to help raise you. The only thing I regret is not giving your own mother that chance." He hoped to convey the sincerity he felt and the love he had for Virgil. He hoped that his kiddo understood the toll that night had took on him. But Virgil wasn't the type for sappy declarations or sentimentalities. He just nodded. "Yeah, I love you too, Pops. You've been a fantastic father." Patton gasped. "Did you just give me a sea-themed pun?" Virgil shrugged in a very nonchalant way before walking off, trying to hide the light smile on his face. Patton knew he couldn't do much to make up for what happened that day, but he hoped that by raising Virgil, and by showing him all of the love that he could, he'd at least done a little bit right in this world. Thank you all for listening. Again, this one was The Making of a Family. Fairly short, but I do hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a wonderful day.